What is going on, Bulls Nation? So Zach Levine just came back yesterday, and we're right back at it as far as his trade destinations are concerned. So there are reports today that Sacramento and Golden State are potential landing spot. We'll talk about it.
This is your home for all things Chicago Bulls. Join the conversation. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
All right, Bulls Nation. So apparently, Golden State. So we'll talk about that because I think I tackled Sacramento Kings in another video. But Golden State, who's struggling right now, is a potential landing spot. Might be interested in Zach Levine, and I see why. Golden State runs this, motion offense, very dynamic, offensively heavy. I can see Zach fitting in perfectly with Golden State, especially now that Klay Thompson is a shell of himself. Let's just call it what it is. He doesn't look like the Klay Thompson that we do know, both on both ends, offensively and defensively. Now, Zach, I'm not comparing Zach to Klay at all at his peak, but because Klay is going to be a Hall of Famer, a great two-way player back in the day, but now Steph is struggling. They couldn't find somebody who would score besides Steph, and he's getting all the attention, and obviously it's not working out. Draymond is suspended. Well, he's going to come back tomorrow. Wiggins, who we saw here, is struggling this year, and Chris Paul is just a salary dump basically. So, and then now Jonathan Kuminga expressed that he this is the unspoken. He might have not asked for a trade, but kind of is asking for a trade because he said that he doesn't see himself being in a position to be better with Steve Kerr. He's like he lost faith, and same with Moses Moody. So this is where the Bulls can come in and sweep in this situation where, hey, you know what? We are kind of in the soft rebuild. Our timeline now is about Kobe White and maybe Patrick Williams. But what a better option but to add these young guys to, grow alongside our young guys like Kobe and Ayo and Dalen Terry. This would be a good addition for the Bulls. Now, the salaries obviously is not going to match, so you have to include Chris Paul. So that's why he's on the thumbnail. But we're not doing this trade for Chris Paul. Chris Paul is just for salary purposes. I know he's going to have his surgery for his wrist. He's not going to see. They might as well not give him a Bulls jersey, right? Like he's not with so many guards that we do have. And Chris Paul is a good mentor of Kobe White. I'm not saying he's going to be. He is a mentor of Kobe White. It's widely discussed that Kobe played on his AAU team and all that stuff. So I'm pretty sure Kobe's going to be thrilled to have Chris Paul on the bench because of his surgery. He's not going to play anyway. Plus, he has ties with Billy Donovan, but that is not the case. We're not here to talk about Chris Paul. We're here to talk about Jonathan Kuminga. And look at him. He's a dynamic player, and he is a good player to have as a backup, just in case things doesn't go well contract-wise between the Bulls and Patrick Williams. I think they play pretty much the same position. With Jonathan Kuminga, it's hard to gauge him. He's not a complete bust, kind of like James Wiseman, but he's shown flashes, but he hasn't lived up to what his draft position was. And maybe you can attribute playing time in his case because he doesn't have any. Golden State is still competing. They're trying to maximize Steph Curry's prime, and playing Jonathan Kuminga, doesn't really help that cause. But Zach would. If the trade is just gonna be Kuminga and Chris Paul for Zach Levine straight up, I wanted the draft pick. It was me, even though it's protected. But I wouldn't be opposed to just straight up trade like that. I wouldn't be. So basically, it's Kuminga for Zach. You're going to get a ton of cap space when Chris Paul becomes a free agent next season. alongside DeMar DeRozan. So you have the opportunity to sign a big time free agent if there is one, because the big time, I'm doing air quotes here, are Paul George and Kawhi. You're not gonna get those. But you're gonna free up your cap space, and you have a young asset that you could develop, like I said, alongside at worst alongside Patrick Williams. So you can put P. Will at 4, Kuminga at 3. Now, if they insist on having Caruso, then we need a pick. If the Dubs say, hey, you know what, we want Caruso in a trade, we would need a pick for that, because Caruso is worth a first round, in my opinion, at a minimum 1 first round pick, and maybe get a first round pick and then replace Chris Paul with Andrew Wiggins or something in that manner, because I think Wiggins still has a value in this league. I'm not necessarily crazy about him. Again, this trade is really about Kuminga, and I wouldn't mind him, honestly. I wouldn't mind Kuminga on the Bulls. I would love to have him here. Again, I'm not gonna break the bank for Kuminga, but I really wouldn't mind adding him to the young pieces that we do have here. Look, they're playing Matt Thomas right there, with the Bulls. So that's one trade, and we can discuss the Sacramento trade in another day. I would love to see, because it's gonna be the same like Kevin Huerter and all that stuff with Harrison Barnes, but this one feels like it would benefit both teams. And I know Golden State fans are gonna be like, oh, I don't want Zach. I think, if you don't look into his salary, which you are paying Klay Thompson that much anyway, which is gonna expire. I think it makes sense. I think it does make sense, but I see the hesitation on their part. I see also on the Bulls hesitation on their part, because if they can get more, or if draft pick compared to somebody like Kuminga, who you need to resign pretty soon, I see the hesitation in that as well. But thank you for watching. If you are a Bulls fan, please consider subbing to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Let's go Bulls.